Welcome, everybody, to the 120th episode. 120 of the Geek Dad Report, the one show dedicated, formulated, specially created, and to bring you guys all the pop culture news that happened this week, and discussing some of those topics in greater detail. We're also here to hopefully put a smile on your face while Ryan makes exploding things from his crotch area.
It's 120 episodes. It's a big number.
It's big.
We're going places, Brian.
Whatever. As always, I'm Brian West, the hostess with the mostest. Boop, 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 boop. Do a little dance. Make a little love. Get down tonight. And that beautiful man over there is Ryan Thomason.
Hello. I just want everyone to know that I'm wearing lawn johns.
Oh, man.
And shorts and a t-shirt and a sweatshirt because we can't figure out how to turn the heat on.
Oh.
In my new house.
And you live in Philadelphia, so that could be a problem.
Yeah, it's fucking cold right now.
Did you guys have any snow yet?
Nope, but it's in the forecast.
Nice. We had snow.
I
was at Lake Chelan this weekend, and it snowed like 6 inches.
Don't
ask me how I measured.
God. At least you don't got to worry about forest fires when it's snowing.
That's true. It's very true. Well, that and the fact that Washington is already almost completely burnt to the ground over the summer, so there's nothing left to burn at this point. Yeah. Whatever. Well, I am not wearing lawn johns because my heater works just fine. And right now in Washington, it's a nice balmy about 42 degrees, so that's just where we like it.
Yes.
But if you guys haven't noticed, you are not crazy. You have not set your clocks completely back an entire day for daylight savings. Me and Ryan are actually a day early. We're going to let you guys know last week, but we forgot. My beloved Seahawks play tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football, and it was going to be too much of a hassle to try and watch it and get the show recorded. So Ryan graciously decided to take one for the cause of the illustrious, glorious, beautiful Team of Destiny, so I could watch them beat the lowly Arizona Cardinals tomorrow. Knock on wood.
Well, and nobody wanted to watch like half of the episode of you like turning and screaming at the TV because you have no offensive line and Russell Wilson's forced to scramble.
That's not entirely true. We have a part of an offensive line, okay? We traded for a player. We had one guy who was a Pro Bowl alternate, and we traded for a Pro Bowler. So now we have two parts of an offensive line. So suck it, Ryan.
Just so if I remind myself right, Russell Wilson not only is the leading passer, but the leading rusher.
How's your Packers? How's your Packers doing?
I'm not. The Packers are not my number one team. Mm-hmm. The Steelers. Is that what you want to talk about?
No, we're not, this isn't the NFL show, Ryan. All right, we're not going down that path. All I was saying is I was trying to thank the people for joining us a day early. Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess I shouldn't thank them. They should be thanking us. They get us a day early.
I was just adding context.
Whatever. No one wants to talk about your stupid Steelers. Worst team in the NFL. You seen their throwbacks? They look like they all escaped from a prison bus. And they're running around on the field.
So regardless, we have a great episode for you guys.
Yes, we promise no NFL talk. It's all nerd talk.
We've already lost Chris. So
Chris is quit. If you would like to talk some NFL stuff, I released an episode of the Geek Dad Report versus the NFL yesterday. All my Week 10 predictions are now available to consume. And Ryan also gave us his pick, so you can now follow. I do all the talking, but you can know what Ryan is picking as well. So you can ridicule him as I do when he picks wrong.
I just send him a text of all the teams that I picked, and that's my contribution.
Yes, but that is available right now on our Facebook page, so check it out. It's also available on YouTube and Twitter and everywhere else. But
soon to be on iTunes.
Yeah, soon to be on iTunes. Ryan, scoot over a little bit. You're completely out of frame. No, the other way. Other way. Come on. Come on. Sorry, people. Occasionally, you have to be an actual producer.
How's
there
this?
We go. No. A little bit back this way. Just a little bit. There we go. Right there. Perfect. Move. Freeze.
It was hot because I noticed last week I was way over to this side.
You tend to move a lot while we're doing the show. I'm not really sure why you're moving so much.
I think it's because my kids, they like to grab my webcam.
You know what? I can see in your closet. Is that a giant dildo? What is that?
What?
You know what my favorite part about that is you actually looked to see if there was a giant dildo in your closet.
No, I'm trying to understand what the hell are you talking about.
Talking about the giant dildo in your closet.
Could be. Don't know. Are you talking about that? Right on the orange thing?
Ryan, there's no giant dildo. I was messing with you. You got real excited there.
There is a giant dildo in my closet, just so
Whatever.
you know.
Whatever.
It's a strap-on.
I bet. All right, moving on. That's enough of that. Oh, we got anything else
You
we
guys
want to talk
don't need
about
to
before we
know.
jump into the news, or you just want to get into it?
Just like a giant dildo, just get into it.
Yeah, so I mean, we could talk more about your giant strap-on that you apparently have. I have so many questions, I don't even know where to start.
Well, sometimes...
You're out of focus again. Scoot back over. Quit moving.
I didn't move at all.
You did move. Your head was cut off. Half of a person.
Are we going to start doing something? That'd be great.
We were talking about your strap-on. I don't know what's going on here. So confused. All right. We have, well, let's see, where are we at? News. Yeah, we have news. We have topics. We have things to discuss on the show. Because we are a day early, usually Wednesday and Thursday morning is like a giant news dump, so we don't have as many stories as we normally do, but we actually got some good ones we're going to spend some time talking about tonight. So we're going to try a new less is more approach where we give you less news, but we're going to dive deeper into the stories that we actually bring you. So we'll see how it goes, and if you guys like it, we can do that from now on instead of me and Ryan just rambling for 25 minutes about as many news stories as we can find. But anyway, it's time for Ninja News, Ryan, which means we're coming with the finger eye poke of knowledge.
That's a new one.
The double-sided dildo of happiness.
Wow.
And
the Cobra Kai leg sweep of anal pleasure.
Wow. This is a show for children, Ryan, you dirty bastard. What's going on here? All right, well, on that note, speaking of dildos, Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott has recently, he did like one of those the Hollywood Reporter likes to get iconic people together, and they do like these round tables and they talk about stuff, and they had one. Ridley Scott was on.
Sit around and jerk off to each other.
Yeah,
what they
basically, they tell each other how great they are.
do.
So occasionally they're good, but
and then somebody takes out a giant dildo, and everybody just.
Hopefully, it's got two ends because that's just selfish if it doesn't.
Yeah.
So Ridley Scott basically came out and they're talking about aliens, and he said that he believes that they're going to have to retire the xenomorph if they want to continue the Alien franchise, which should make anybody go, what? What?
Then are they not going to call it aliens anymore because we're just going to call it a space story?
Well, he wants to, from what it sounds like, he wants to focus more on like David the robot and the whole creators and the universe. He wants to. So basically, in a nutshell, he created Alien, this universe with aliens, right? That James Cameron really made awesome. But Ridley Scott did create it, so all credit where credit's due. He made Jaws in space, and then he went back to it with Prometheus and said, you know what? You know what would be really great is if we don't tell people all the stuff that they want to know, and we tell them a bunch of stuff that they don't want to know, and we're going to make this universe larger. So he made this universe much bigger, and now he wants to tell all the stories in this universe that don't have anything to do with the actual aliens that started it.
Yeah, and I think he thinks they believe that the Prometheus and the people that created everything is more interesting because it's fresh and new and they've never explored it yet.
It's not.
It's not. I don't give a shit about that franchise. I just want to see first I want to see a face hugger jump on something's face, and then I want to see what the xenomorph fucking looks like. That's all I really want. And then I just want it to eat a bunch of people, and then eventually it dies.
You're talking about a franchise that's built on an iconic creature that's terrifying, right? It'd be like doing a Freddy Krueger movie without Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I just think it's a terrible idea. If you want to do these sci-fi stories, go ahead, man. Go ahead and make Prometheus. Just don't make it in the Alien universe. Make it something different and give us something new.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly good way of saying it. If you don't want to do xenomorphs anymore, then fucking hand it off to somebody else who wants to, like Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah, let us get the Neil Blomkamp movie that we want.
Who wanted to reboot it in a really way that was getting like the actors excited, and they had Sigourney Weaver like signed on to like do it. Yeah. If you don't want to fucking do it anymore because you want to make a new sci-fi opera, then by all means go do it.
The thing that irritates me too is we got Prometheus with the promise of like, hey, I'm going to tell the prequel that my last movie is going to end with Alien, the beginning of Alien. And we're like, oh, cool, it'll fill in the backstory. Not explore a whole different side of it that nobody gives a crap about, right? I mean, not only that, if you ever have, let's say you have a different protagonist, right? So let's say David or Michael or whatever the robot's name is in the last one. Let's say he's the villain. He's never, he was scary villain, but he's not an alien, right? And if you create other aliens, they're always going to be judged against the xenomorph, right? They're always going to be judged like, are they as good? Are they as cool? Are they as scary? And so what's the point of making a movie without your iconic character in it, your iconic creature in it?
Well, there's not. That's the thing. I mean, I got into the franchise. I don't like, scary horror stuff like that, but alien movies, I'll fucking watch it no matter what.
They're like, I don't know about you, but I love a good like creature horror movie, right? Like I like Jaws, I like Aliens, I like Alien, I like Predator. Can you imagine making a Predator movie? Hey guys, new idea for Predator 7. There's going to be no predators. It's going to be amazing. You're gonna love it.
It's just going to be a bunch of dudes trying to figure out the best way to trophy hunt.
It's going to be about Dutch when he was in high school. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. No, I don't want to see that movie.
He's on the football team.
I don't want to see a coming-of-age story. I mean, the only way you want to see one of those movies is if you don't know it's a loose Predator tie-in until, like, you watch the movie and you're like, oh, that was cool.
Have you watched Covenant yet?
Yeah. It's good. I mean, it's good-ish. Not great, but it's better than Prometheus.
Yeah. I still haven't watched Covenant just because, I mean, it didn't feel like it was going to be like a complete Aliens movie, so I just wasn't super excited for it.
It's a good mix of Prometheus and Aliens, right? If you took Prometheus and Alien and put it together in a blender, you'd get Alien Covenant. There's a lot of stuff to like about it. There's a lot of stuff you didn't like about it either. You could see where they were still hanging on to these Prometheus ideas, but it was a much better movie than even, it was obviously better than the fourth Alien movie. It was better than all the Alien versus Predator movies. And, it wasn't bad. It was watchable. It was a worthy entry into the Alien universe, but I kind of got excited. I'm like, oh, cool. And then I hear like, oh, they're going to do another prequel. They're going to do a prequel to Alien Covenant. That's supposed to be the next one they're going to do. And I'm just like, I quit. I give up. But anyway, let us know what you guys think. Should they continue on with the Alien franchise if they are going to retire the Xenomorph, or should they just scrap it? We either want Xenomorph or nothing. That's where we stand.
Asshole.
Yeah. Let's see what we got next here. A little DC news for you guys. Justice League, if you haven't realized, is less than 2 weeks away. I'm very excited. I know Ryan's excited. Unfortunately, most of America hasn't even realized that the movie's going to be here in about a week and a half. But from all things we're hearing, it's supposedly going to be a pretty good movie. Early reviews have come out. Early critics have, early screenings. People have given it the same ratings that they've given Wonder Woman. They've kind of compared it to that movie. Obviously we'll hold judgment. I'll believe it when I see it. Kind of that's where we're at with DC a little bit. But I'm pretty excited for it.
And they're putting on the same bar as Wonder Woman. That can only be good. I mean,
and there's been a lot of people coming out saying that hey, Henry Cavill came out and like, listen, we made mistakes with Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. We needed to make those mistakes. We're on course now. I don't think you'd have so many people coming out before Justice League saying like, hey, we messed up, but we fixed it. We got it right. Wonder Woman showed us what we needed to do, and it's going to be like that. Unless they were really confident that this movie was going to be great. And I mean, no actor is going to come out 2 weeks before the movie and be like, guys, this movie's terrible. But,
it's going to suck balls, guys.
But like we talked about last week, there's a lot riding on this movie. The whole DCE universe that currently as it exists could be in jeopardy if Justice League isn't successful. So Don't let how you feel about the other ones. Stay away from going to see this one. If nothing else, I can almost guarantee it's going to be a 2-hour, fun comic book movie. It's a great, if you like comic book movies and you want to see them continue to get made, even if you're not a fan of, say, Suicide Squad or Batman v Superman, go see this in the theater, because all studios care about is bottom line box office numbers. They could care less about, Blade Runner was critically adored and it's going to lose $100 million. We are never getting another Blade Runner movie or anything like that. And, all the people who loved it, good for you. You got a movie, but
better buy the Blu-ray, because that's it.
I know we talked a little bit last week as well about comic book fans at each other's throats. Guys, let's just all go see these movies. When they come out, if we're fans, just go. Spend the $10, go be entertained for 2 hours, and don't get online and just obliterate something if it wasn't exactly what you'd hoped for.
Well, and don't try to obliterate something just because, you're a fan of Marvel.
Yeah. Well, and I think more importantly, don't go into Justice League believing you're going to hate it, because no matter how good it is, you probably won't enjoy it as much if you already have your mind made up that it's going to suck. But anyway, it's coming out in a couple weeks. I'm excited for it. We're going to have a full review. I'm going to try and go see it. I'm not going to get into an early screening, unfortunately, but I'm going to try and go see it opening weekend, so we will have full coverage on this show at least of it. But that being said, if you do go see Justice League, stick around for the after credits.
That's the first one, right?
Yeah, they usually do not do post-credit stingers, and apparently they are going to have one, at least one, in Justice League. Jason Momoa has said, "Yep, there's some cool stuff. Stick around." So if there is nothing, blame Aquaman.
Aquaman's the one that's coming up after Justice League, if I remember right.
Yes, Aquaman is the next movie, because that's the one currently filming. I believe that comes out next year.
Okay.
Because originally it was supposed to be Justice League 1 and 2 were going to be shot. We're going to be back to back, but I think they've pushed off Justice League for the sequel for another year or two. I'm not really sure what order. I know Shazam is getting going. Wonder Woman 2, obviously. Suicide Squad 2 actually is going to be up here real soon. In fact, we have a little bit of Suicide Squad news. Apparently the villain in this may be, in fact, Black Adam. A lot of people were like, what? When The Rock came out and said he was not going to be the villain in the Shazam movie. And apparently it's because they're going to introduce him in Suicide Squad, which actually I think is a really good idea.
So Black Bolt is
Marvel.
He's what?
Marvel. That is the Inhuman King.
Oh,
Black Adam.
I meant to say what did I mean? Yeah.
It's cool. All right, so Black Adam.
Black Adam. What is his power?
He has the exact same power as Shazam. So they were given the gift by the same wizard.
Oh, okay. So he's
flight,
like the opposite.
Yeah, except for, he's got a really interesting story. If you guys really want some good reading before you get a chance to watch Black Adam, read DC's 52. Not New 52, just 52. It's 4 volumes. It's a lot of reading. It was 52 comics that they did over every single week. We had a new one, and you got a ton of backstory and character development for Black Adam. You really see what a great anti-hero he is. But his origins start in Egypt. His family dies. He's granted the power of Shazam, and he ends up kind of becoming like a megalomaniac. He wants the world to be peaceful, but he feels like the only way for peace is for him to control the entire world and kill anybody who opposes him.
Right? So he's like invincible, basically, like that one comic where.
No. A little bit. It's kind of honestly a lot like Superman, Red Sun. Just basically, he's like, hey, I'm gonna do I want the world to be great, and I'm gonna murder anybody who stops my vision, right? So
does he have to do the Shazam thing where you have to say?
I don't think so.
Something?
I think he's got his powers at all times, and now he got his powers when he was an adult, so he doesn't transform into a boy or from a boy into a human like Billy Batson does. Billy Batson got his powers as a child, so when he transforms into Shazam, that's why he goes full grown.
Okay.
But Black Adam, his family died. Like I said, he's been around for a long time, and he wanted the power to right that wrong, and he got it, and kind of went evil with it. In 52, one of the things he does is perform a public execution on a supervillain in front of cameras. Rips a dude literally in half. I'm telling you guys, 52 is one of the greatest comic book stories I've ever read. Highly recommend. It has none of the main A-list superheroes. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, they all go on hiatus. So the rest of the B team is left picking up the pieces. And it's fantastic.
I think The Rock is due to just be like a really bad guy in a movie.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm excited. Yeah, I think he's gonna be a great Black Bolt. Now you got me saying Black Bolt. Black Adam.
Sorry, it's my fault.
Nah, it's all right. I think he's gonna be a great Black Adam. I am a little and I think it's a great idea to introduce him in Suicide Squad. I want to see these movies become more interconnected, where you bring in we get away from origin stories when you introduce characters in different movies that aren't their own. So that way, when we do see Black Adam fight Shazam, we already know who he is. He's established. You don't have to spend all this time telling a backstory.
You can flush it out in their own movie, but if you establish them in something like Suicide Squad, then you basically already done the hard part, which is just to win the fan overs.
Yeah, well,
with the character.
Like a great example of how Marvel's been doing this is, I'm going to talk a little bit about later, but I went and saw Thor Ragnarok, and no spoilers, but you've gotten to this point now where you can just throw in characters like the Hulk, and you can throw in characters like Grandmaster, because this is basically a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, but it doesn't feel weird because we've already seen this universe now in 2 other movies, and we've seen the Hulk in a couple other movies, and they're able in Thor Ragnarok, they're able to throw in tons of lines from the Avengers and backstory, and they're actually telling jokes that pay off in this movie that started in other movies, right? And because they've spread these stories out and spent all this time building up everywhere else, it really starting to pay off in their movies now, and you're able to get a much bigger, broader, funnier, better story because they've already set everything up over other movies, and I think if DC can kind of get into that mold a little bit where they it doesn't have to do everything, you don't have to cross everything, but kind of start setting up other characters in other movies and other stories, so that way when you get to this point where everything's already established and you can just run with it, right?
Yeah. I mean, if we could get if they could have more scenes where all the Avengers are trying to pick up Thor's hammer, then that's just kind of adds to it, that makes it just a little bit. But obviously they can't do that in Ragnarok,
Well, we're not going to talk about Ragnarok right now. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But no, as far as Black Adam, the only question I have though is if they're going to introduce him in Suicide Squad 2, they're going to have to bring much more powerful villains to fight him, because the current cast of the Suicide Squad would get obliterated by Black Adam in literally minutes. I mean, Black Adam can go toe-to-toe with Superman. So you were talking about a guy who can go toe-to-toe to Superman going up against people who punch people hard. I mean, they would just die immediately.
Or someone that's a really good shot.
So, I mean, you're going to need to bring in characters like Deathstroke, and I mean, even him, he can't stand toe-to-toe with Superman, but I mean, you're going to have to bring in much more powerful. You can bring in some of the characters you had last time, but you got to get rid of the Boomerangs and the Killer Crocs, and you got to bring in, you got to bring in the big guns, the big villains.
Yeah, you can't bring in the guys that get caught easily by the B-list, superheroes.
Yeah, you're going to have to bring in a few more powerful characters than what you currently have.
You need to throw in a Doomsday.
Doomsday cannot be on a Suicide Squad, but yes, I do like what you're saying. But yes, you need to think big like that. So the cool thing is, it sounds like they're thinking grander. If this is true, if The Rock is going to be the villain in Suicide Squad 2, you are thinking a much bigger movie than what you got the first time around, which I actually think is a great idea. So. Yeah,
and hopefully they don't make it cheesy, like Harley Quinn can go toe-to-toe with him or something.
Oh, God. Harley Quinn would die immediately. A good villain that they could never get him, but if they could, that it would be great for Suicide Squad 2, is a Brainiac, which, funny enough, has just been cast as the main villain in Krypton, the new sci-fi prequel series, which is fantastic news.
Yes, but it is not coming out until 2019.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was coming out next year.
If you read the article that we posted, they're saying that 2019 is when they're...
God, I thought it was next year. I'm kind of bummed. So hopefully it means early 2019. So hopefully we're only a little over a year away. But no, this Krypton show is really shaping up to... It's starting to shape up to something that sounds pretty cool.
Well, the whole premise of it I mean, do we know much about
So what we know about
his family before?
We don't know much about his grandpa. Everything we know really about
you know about his dad.
Krypton is Jor-El. We know a lot about Jor-El. So this is gonna I forget his dad's name, or his grandpa's name, but this is gonna center around his grandfather, and obviously Jor-El is gonna be a part of this, but Jor-El is very small in this. And I'm guessing probably the end of this series, if they ever get to it, will be the planet exploding and Superman being shot off. But this is going to focus a lot on, and this is why Brainiac is such a perfect villain for this. This is going to focus a lot on Kryptonian stuff, right? They've compared it to a Game of Thrones style show. Now that's a term that's going to be thrown around a lot nowadays because Game of Thrones is such a huge hit. But that being said, I think it's kind of the political, behind-the-scenes, backstabbing, intrigue. There's all these big, huge houses of in Krypton that are real powerful. So I think you can see a lot of that.
Isn't there like essentially like a Krypton? Don't they have like a civil war or something like that? Essentially, or
so it depends on what you read. That's the hard part with the story of Krypton. There's a lot of history of Krypton, and a lot of it depends on what comic book you're reading or what book you're reading or whatever. Right? Yes, there's a lot of civil war. That's what I'm excited for about this show, is that they've given us some history of Krypton, but they haven't really mined it. So you could get a lot of story that's interesting, that kind of ties into the Superman mythology, but it's all new stuff, right? It's a prequel that we don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, we obviously know the planet's going to explode, but we don't know what's going to happen to these characters, because a lot of these characters in the show will be dead by the time the planet explodes. So it actually gives it real weight to what you're watching.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I'm excited for it, just because it's going to be something completely fresh. So, I mean, it's obviously it's going to be a story that hasn't been told. So I'm looking forward to that, because then you can't just be like, well.
Well, and there's a lot of Superman lore that you can put into this, right? There's a lot of things that have popped up in Superman episodes that were from Krypton or neighboring planets or other things that you can bring into this show and give us a very DC show, but not have it be Superman.
So could you tie in like the Daxamites and all that kind of stuff?
Exactly.
Then?
There was a war between Krypton and the Daxamites. You could easily put that in this show. Brainiac starts as a computer program. You could easily see him starting to twist into a villain. And we don't know how this show's going to end. Maybe Brainiac did blow up the planet. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can go with on this series, I think, that makes it exciting, ties it into the DC universe, but also doesn't have the Gotham effect where you're just sitting here watching Bruce Wayne going, I just want Batman to be in this show, right? Why is Batman not in this show? And I think we're going to get a show with Krypton that you aren't necessarily saying, God, why isn't Superman just in this show, right?
Yeah, and you can just learn about all the L's. Kal-El.
Yeah, I mean, it's rich for storytelling. In fact, they have a lot of the people who worked on Game of Thrones and some of the actors from Game of Thrones in this. And everything I've seen about the sets and the design, it looks really good, and the people behind it are some good people. And honestly, Sci-Fi Channel has been crushing it with some of their original programming. So I'm actually really excited for Krypton.
Yeah, I mean, if it's anything half as good as The Expanse, then it's going to be well worth the wait.
Oh, yeah, I agree. The Expanse, isn't that coming back here soon?
I thought it wasn't coming back for like 2033 or something.
No, I think it's January. I think it comes back in January.
Oh, okay.
I know the Magicians. Yeah. I know the Magicians is coming back here soon too. Those two come out about the same time. I saw Felicia Day actually joined in a reoccurring role on the Magician. So anybody who watches the Magician, man, it's a dirty, violent Harry Potter.
You keep telling me a lot of good things about it, and I keep saying I'm going to get to it, but then I never do.
Yeah, it's a good show, man. I definitely watch. It's only 10 episodes. I think it's 10 or no, it might be 13 episode seasons, but you can still binge watch them pretty quick.
Yeah.
But all right, let's see here. What else we got here? I think it's all for DC. Well, actually, DC kind of staged a coup this week. They signed an exclusive writing deal with Micheal Bendis. They signed him away from Marvel. And signed him to like a 10-year, DC only.
Basically, deal. Like you're with us for a long time, buddy.
Well, and Brian Michael Bendis has been a pillar of the Marvel, comic community for a long time. And if you can think of any iconic stuff, chances are he's been a part of it. He created Miles Morales, the other Spider-Man. He redid Jessica Jones, wrote Alias. He did the Winter Soldier with Bucky. I mean, he's done so many iconic stuff.
He's done the House of M. He's done a lot of the X-Men stuff. Pretty much most of like the big X-Men stuff he did. He disbanded the Avengers and he created the new Avengers.
Oh yeah.
And Avengers the one that's got Wolverine and stuff in the new Avengers.
Yeah.
So he's shaking up a lot of stuff at Marvel, and I haven't paid attention to any of the fanboys tiers, but I'm kind of excited for him to go to DC. If he can do that much kind of shaking up at Marvel, I mean, what the hell? What's he going to do at DC?
Well, and I think here's the thing. I think with Jeff Johns leaving to become basically head of DC Entertainment, it's left a huge void for a storyteller to kind of take the reins in a lot of this stuff. And I think that's what he's being brought in to do. No actual details on what he's going to be writing or anything like that, but there are also rumors that he may work with some of the movies as well, which I think would be a big deal. So, I'm real excited with you, man. I'm real. I was going to ask you what are you excited that he might write? But honestly, the more I think about it, he could literally write any character, right? I mean, I think he could bring new life into everybody.
What if he decided to try and do something with the Watchmen thing that's going on? I mean,
that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind him seeing with what he did with Jessica Jones, or I would like to see him with Alias. It would be nice to maybe see him grab like not necessarily Wonder Woman, but maybe a secondary female character and kind of do the same thing. Maybe bring somebody out of the shadows and turn him into a huge.
Maybe not Harley Quinn, but because Harley Quinn seems to be like the default. If it's not Wonder Woman, it's Harley Quinn. That seems to kind of be like the default female character now for.
Well, Batgirl. DC. I mean, Batgirl's got a lot of new stuff in this world, but Supergirl. I mean, there's a lot of great female characters in DC. It'd be cool to see him just. I don't know. I would like to see him do something with that. Honestly, I don't care what he writes. I'd like to see him write.
He's just gonna take over for the DC superhero girls high.
Yeah,
and cool. He's just gonna work on that storyline.
Hey, my daughters love that. They need more of those comics.
My daughter reads that shit before she goes to bed every night.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Marvel, apparently J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons, was recently talking about Justice League, and somebody asked him if he'd like to reprise his role as J. Jonah Jameson in the new Spider-Man. He said if Marvel wanted to bring him back, he'd love to do it, and I think that should definitely happen.
I think you'd be an idiot if that was anything but your answer was fuck yeah, I'll do a Marvel Spider-Man movie again. But man, he was awesome.
Yeah, he is J. Jonah Jameson. I don't even want to see them cast anybody else. So, we got a couple quick stories.
He's the only one that can wear that mustache.
Yeah, we got a couple quick ones that we will just blow through real quick before we get into our main topic of the night. But real fast, Thor Ragnarok. Don't know if you guys have seen it yet. It's really good.
Nobody saw it. That's kind of sad.
I'm going to talk about it in our recommendations, but it opened not way above expectations, but above expectations. Had an opening weekend of $121 million, which is by far the most for any Thor movie. It may not be Guardians. It's not the $200 million that Guardians 2 pulled, but you got to remember, Thor is the least popular franchise that Marvel has. And it raked in over $430 million worldwide, and it's set to challenge $800-900 million worldwide before end of its run. So
yeah, can you even remember the plot for Thor: Dark World? I mean,
I actually like Thor. I like Thor: Dark World a lot.
You do?
Yeah, I know a lot of people hated it.
The one where I was sitting there, I was trying to think about it. I was like, God, I don't really remember fucking anything from that movie.
Yeah, I remember a lot from it. But that being said, Thor. Well, we'll talk about Thor Ragnarok in our recommendations this week. But it made a lot of money. It's gonna make a lot more money. Let us know if you saw it. Kevin Spacey last week we talked about how he's a dirty sexual offender, and apparently Netflix agrees. And after a lot of meeting with the House of Cards staff and producers, they have fired Kevin Spacey from House of Cards. If you are a fan of House of Cards, we don't have any news for you as far as what they want to do. Apparently, there has been a petition online to hire actor Kevin James to replace Kevin Spacey. Don't know what that's all about, but sure, why not?
It's a sad state when there's more repercussions for a fake president that sexually harasses people than there is for a real president that
we
sexually
had general
harasses
elections
people.
yesterday, and if they're of any indication, there may be consequences coming for Donald Trump sooner than later.
Yes.
But we won't talk too much. We won't talk too much about that. A little spoiler though, so if you haven't watched Game of Thrones or House of Cards, this is a little spoiler. But apparently, in the last season, Last Chance, if you want to get caught up, 1, 2, 3. Kevin Spacey's president was disgraced and had to step down from being the president, and his wife took over. So a lot of people think that they could finish the series because they still have one season left to finish. That he may be assassinated early on in season 6, and the final season may be his wife trying to, finish the presidency.
Well, thanks for ruining the whole last season that my wife and I were only 3 episodes in. But honestly,
said spoilers.
We stopped watching it a while ago. It just felt too. After all the stuff that we were going through with Trump, the shit just felt too fucking real.
I've actually heard that.
We could not watch it.
Well, I was gonna binge watch it at some point, but I've decided that since Kevin Spacey is a dirty, terrible man, no. And that being said, we've apparently, 1 week has gone by and about 15 new allegations have popped up of different actors and people in power. So one really bad one popped up today about Charlie Sheen. It's disgusting. And I don't want to dwell on this, but it is absolutely disgusting to see some of these actors that you grew up, maybe not idolizing, but really enjoying their work. Just to see some of the
people that you thought were respectable human beings, you find out
beings.
that 90% of them are all fucking pieces of shit.
Yeah, absolutely awful human beings. So, it's pretty disheartening to see all this coming out. But you know what? At least it's coming out. Hopefully, like we said last week, it can get dealt with. Hollywood can maybe turn over a new leaf. And we can get rid of some of these sexual predators that seem to just be flocking into the film industry. So, anyway, whatever. All right, moving on. Last story we got for you guys before our main topic of the night. Lord of the Rings apparently is going. It's being considered, but it sounds like everything that I'm hearing that it sounds like it's probably going to be a go. They're going to do a TV series at Amazon. So I think Game of Thrones. They're going to take the books and break them down into, 13 seasons of hobbits walking.
Wait, they were going to do just the straight books again?
So what I'm hearing is, and there's been some talk back and forth of whether they would start with the Hobbit and go all the way through the Lord of the Rings, but
what?
Yeah, but right now for sure that I do know for a fact that they are talking is that they want to start with the first. They want to tell the entire book. So if it's 500-page book, they want to tell all 500 pages, and I'm guessing they'll probably have to add some material. You're probably not going to get 500. 500-page book may not equate to a 10-episode season.
I guess that's cool because, like in Lord of the Rings, they didn't have Tom Bombadil and stuff like that.
Well, and I've never watched the director's cuts, right? So all I've ever seen is just the regular versions of the movie, and I've never read the books. The thought of this whole process is to give the people who've never read the books and never seen the director's cut, fill in all those extra things that were chopped out from the movies, right? But do it over, 5 or 6, 7 seasons on Amazon. So I don't know. You've read the books. What do you think about this? How much different are the books from the movies, and are they different enough that they justify a retelling of the story?
God, that's a tough question. There is a lot of stuff that's left out from the books. I mean, obviously, because the movies were made before they realized you could do shit like Game of Thrones on HBO. I mean, that was the only avenue that they could even think of at that time period. So yeah, even though they're nearly 3-hour movies, and the books aren't crazy long, they still had to gloss over a lot of stuff. So you do miss a lot of stuff with the treants. You like I said, Tom Bombadil, who was one of a really cool character in the first book, not the Hobbit, but the first Lord of the Rings book. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened in the Dwarven mind that I don't remember happening in the movie. So, I mean, they'll be filling in a lot of stuff. Is it necessary? I mean, is it something that we really need? I don't think so. But why the hell not? I mean, Lord of the Rings is such a classic story.
Yeah.
That I think they could do it. I mean, and people will watch it. Fuck, I'll watch it. I mean, I already know everything's going on. I've already seen all the movies, and it's not like it's going to be anything new. But if they're going to be doing a lot more detail,
yeah.
I mean, if it's like more like the first season of Game of Thrones, where it felt like it was literally coming out of the book,
yeah,
then I'm for that.
What if they change things up a little bit, like they do in Game of Thrones? I think it'd be a little bit harder because you already have a complete story.
Yeah, that's harder to do because George R. R. Martin, or not George R. R. Martin, Tolkien. I don't think you can't get away with trying to tweak his stuff as much as you can get away with tweaking the George R. R. Martin's
that
books.
Makes sense. What do you think? So, do you think, like Game of Thrones, though, they need to add boobs for this to be a hit series? I'm going to say we need elf boobs. If we get elf boobs, I'm all in for Lord of the Rings.
There will be no boobs just because.
Listen, I'm also I'm an equal opportunity nudist, so if we get some elf boobs and you guys want some elf penis, well then that's fine as well. But
I think if you're going to see anything, you will probably see penis.
Yeah, that's
because there's not because these books do not have a lot of female characters in it.
All right,
nor do they have female characters that do anything.
In that case, I say pick a different series.
Yeah.
Anyway,
pick something with more boobs.
My opinion, I don't care. Either way, whatever. It would save me from having to watch the director's cuts. Yeah. All right, moving on.
Just read the goddamn books, Brian. God, you're so fucking
boring. Blah.
Read a book.
Reading? There's no reading. Blah. Oh, you know what? Lastly, real quick, before we do our final story, just a couple seconds. A lot of Star Wars news is filtering its way out. The movie's ramping up. It's only it's like a month and a week away. A lot of plot elements are kind of leaking their way out. Beware of spoilers. Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill's been taking out saying a lot of people have been asking him, is he going to go to the dark side? He said no. He says his backstory, we're not going to get that much of his backstory. It's not important. That being said, so a lot of people are running with these and people are saying them and then everyone's yelling spoilers. Listen, we don't know if anything Mark Hamill says is true or not. So just do what I do and just kind of avoid everything Star Wars.
Mark Hamill is very fucking good at trolling on Twitter. And he knows what he's doing. When he wants to get people if he wants to misdirect people, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is just a little Geek Dad Report public service announcement. Guys, let's not fight about Star Wars. If you don't want to know anything, just anything that says Star Wars actor says, don't click on it. Just move along and if you do happen to hear some tidbit of information, don't be like, hey, Ryan, what do you think about Rey dying in the first 10 minutes of Last Jedi? And then you're like, what?
And
oh, yeah, you didn't hear?
Luke spends the whole time just making origami.
Yeah, so, just be respectful. We're all gonna be watching this movie in 47 days, and we all can't wait for it. So it's coming soon. Just take a breather, relax.
Take a breather, have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so our final story of the night that we're going to spend about 10 minutes talking about here. We wanted to spend a little bit longer than our other stories just because this is kind of a big deal and could have possible repercussions.
Huge repercussions.
Well, not possible. Huge repercussions to everything we love in the Marvel Disney universe. Yeah. And honestly, other genres, which we're going to talk about in a second. So, a couple months ago, somebody had asked Stan Lee about his thoughts if he would ever see in his lifetime before he died, if he'd ever see X-Men, in an Avengers movie. And he kind of made a hint. He says, I think it's going to happen sooner than you think. And everybody was kind of like, does he know something we don't know? Well, apparently he did know something we don't know. News broke this week that Disney has been in negotiations to try and purchase the movie and television division of 20th Century Fox for the last few months. Talks have heated up and then broken off, heated up. Right now, apparently, they've broken off again. But most people in the industry think that this is just part of negotiations and that this sounds like this is something that Disney wants, and they want it bad.
And so people know, Fox would be keeping Fox News and those kind of affiliates and their sports channels and stuff like that. Because they're saying it's better for them to just consolidate onto those two things because they're really good at bilking people. So
they've decided that they found a core audience of crazy people who only watch Fox News, and so that doesn't, they just want to consolidate into that. But
which is fine. Go do that shit. And I don't know, what do you think about Fox? I mean, put X-Men aside, are there any other major properties that Fox has that would be better in Disney hands?
So take everything X-Men away, and obviously, we'll talk about the TV networks as well, because this is going to, if they buy Fox, you're also talking they're getting Fox Network, they're getting FX, they're getting
FX.
Every network that Fox owns, like you said, other than the sports and the and that they're going to get in this deal. But yeah, you're talking Avatar. That's a 20th Century Fox. You're talking the War of the Worlds franchise. Whether you want to continue with that, you're getting that. You'd get back to that's Universal. You'd get back another big thing is you'd get back the actual distribution rights to the original Star Wars, which they don't currently own, which is why they can't release any of the you can digitally download, but I don't think you can buy. That's why you can't. They don't have any unaltered versions. That's why they only sell the altered versions. Because Fox 20th Century Fox still owns the distribution rights for the original Star Wars movie. So you get that back, right? I'm trying to think what other major franchises. The biggest one, obviously, being probably Avatar. Is the 20th Century, and that's currently under production. That actually, I think, would work really well with Disney. They already have an Avatar world in Disneyland or in Disney World. I could see more of that being integrated into Disney. But I mean, there are other big properties at Fox, but I mean, we're talking, this is done, and they even said so. This whole thing would be done to consolidate all their properties. So the only thing they wouldn't have the rights to anymore is Spider-Man, and they've already worked out a deal with Sony to use Spider-Man. So every other Marvel property would be owned by Marvel or by Disney. And more than that, they've said in 2019, we all know they're launching their streaming service. This would offer a huge catalog of movies and shows that would be exclusive to the Disney streaming service.
Well, every fucking 21st Century Fox movie. I mean, and that's just 21st. Well, not just that,
think of the animated.
There's so many different studios.
All those Blue Skies.
There's so much shit that they own that you don't even know that Fox owns. I mean, I'm sure you could just throw a stick and hit something and be like, oh fuck, Fox owns that? I had no fucking idea.
The Alien franchise. I mean, that's a Fox property.
Oh my god.
Maybe Disney will know
what to do. Think about going to Disneyland and doing an Aliens ride.
Maybe they make an adult, maybe like a Universal Studios, they make a Fox Studios with Alien rides. I mean, hey, there's, honestly, this would be a huge acquisition. But honestly, they've said the whole thing behind it, which is crazy considering how big of a franchise maybe Avatar is, and how many, and all the titles they could bring into their streaming service. But this was done solely because they want the rights to their X-Men universe and their Fantastic Four universe and any other properties that Marvel or that Fox currently owns.
Has that been hinted that that's the main reason why they want to do it? Yeah, that's actually
pretty much what people have come out and said. The main reason for this discussions is they want to make Marvel whole. Thor is the 17th movie in the Marvel universe, in the franchise, and it just crossed $5 billion in total revenue. It's the highest grossing franchise of all time. And they're kind of getting to their end of their run with these current heroes. The MCU has been a huge financial success, movie success, and if they want to keep this gravy train running, they really need to bring the thousands of characters that they don't have the rights to back, so they can do whatever they want to do, right? And
God, if they did this, there needs to be some kind of reboot of the MCU.
Well, I'm sure there would be. But, I mean, think about this from this perspective. So the movies themselves have just made $5 billion. That doesn't include DVD sales. That doesn't include merchandise. That doesn't include brand recognition that these movies have brought that have pushed other things, right? Can you imagine bringing Wolverine into an Avengers movie, right? Just what that would do for that character again. So real quick, because we can just gush about it. Let's talk real quick because we're going to run out of time. Let's talk about potential, the good things, and then we'll talk about the potential problems, and then kind of overall what we think about what we would like to see them do. So the first thing, what do you think the biggest perk, obviously, would be being able to use all their characters and put them in a movie together, right? Avengers versus X-Men could be a reality.
Yeah. Oh my God, Avengers versus X-Men movie would be fucking rad.
Yeah.
Or just bring in some
Black
more
Panther versus Wolverine.
Have the Skrulls and the Shi'ar Empire and Thanos.
Imagine Dark
and
Phoenix.
Guardians of the Galaxy all happening at the same time. You could do
Secret Empire. You could have Victor Von Doom with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, God. That'd be fucking crazy.
So there you go. There's the perks of it. I mean, I think we've already kind of discussed the giant perks of this. Marvel had access to all their characters. Not only that, you talk in the streaming service. The rumor is that they would pull the current shows from Netflix, and that they've already said that the goal of this is to be able to combine their TV and movie universes and have the characters be able to interact with each other. That's what they want to be able to create one giant shared universe that they have the rights to.
Wait, so are you talking about Daredevil?
Yes,
and
they would
ones?
bring everything to their new streaming service. So think about all these properties and think about the original content that you could get. So before, when we were like, oh, another streaming service, you add this to the equation, and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, I'll pay whatever you want to charge me.
So here's my question for you: would you cancel your Netflix to get this streaming service? I think I would.
If I had to choose, and you're giving me original Star Wars content, Marvel content. Yes, I am canceling my Netflix to go to Disney.
Oh my God, if they did.
Plus, you get access to all the Pixar movies, everything.
If they did a Star Wars show that was a continuation of what the fuck was Luke doing for 30 years?
Well, and also, exactly. And there's rumors that that's some of what's coming for this network. There's rumors of 2 or 3 Star Wars shows in the works, and a lot of people are speculating that these are going to launch with the streaming service. So, I mean, that alone is going to get my money. But also, now if you're telling me, okay, so if you get everybody back, part of the reason why they canceled the amazing Avengers, the amazing Marvel's Mightiest Heroes cartoon and went with the Avengers Assembled is because they wanted to take away from the broader universe that they didn't have control over and focus more on the characters that Disney did. Now you can get back to having these all-inclusive cartoons and movies about the entire universe because they own the rights to everything now. So they don't, in your comic books, you're not killing off all the X-Men and all the Fantastic Four because you don't want to promote them because you don't have the rights to them. You can now bring everybody back into the fold and tell some. I mean, they've already told some amazing stories, but when you have all of your great characters together, the possibility is just infinite, right?
Yeah. So what are the negatives? I've read one person who said that she doesn't think that. Disney would take the kind of risk that Fox takes, like with Gifted and Deadpool and those kind of things. Do you think that Disney would still take those kind of risks with those?
So, okay,
properties?
Yes and no. Now, there is an argument to be had that we would not have Deadpool right now if Disney had owned every character, and they're probably right. It's probably not a risk that Disney would have taken with their X-Men universe.
Or Old Man Logan.
Logan. That being said, I don't think that they wouldn't take risks either. I think Disney's smart enough to say, okay, first of all, I don't think The Gifted would be a risk. I think you're going to see more shows like The Gifted. In fact, I think you can see better versions of The Gifted come to TV with Disney. I mean, we've already got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is turning into a great show. We got some truly. You could say they wouldn't take risks, but look how dark Daredevil is, and The Punisher is going to be a straight rated R show. So I think it's a little. I think it's a little unfair to say that just Disney everything would be Mickey Mouse Clubhouse stuff. When clearly they've made darker shows and series. That being said, I definitely don't think we would have had Deadpool. But I do think that if Marvel buys this, if Disney buys this back and says, we're buying this property, I don't think they like money, right? So they're not going to look at it and say, listen, Deadpool is potentially $1 billion franchise. Everybody's excited for X-Force. Everyone's excited for the New Mutants. Legion was a huge hit for FX. I don't think they're going to come in and say, we have a brand to protect and we're getting rid of everything. A lot of people don't remember, but back in the 80s, they had Touchstone Pictures, which released all of Disney's rated R movies. Pretty Woman is a Disney movie, about a hooker.
What? So, no way.
Yeah, so, I mean, Disney's done rated R properties. It's just done it under a different name. So I can see a scenario where you have a 20th Century Fox brand still there. And you promote, you do your X-Men stuff under that, your darker X-Men stuff. Or you could do a darker universe that's just a dark Marvel universe that's for adults. My guess is they probably wouldn't tag it with the Marvel name. They'd probably stick it with... They probably keep the studio as 20th Century Fox, and they would probably release anything that's adult-oriented under there. But then all your X-Men... My guess is the entire X-Men movies would instantly move over to Disney and become a Marvel property. And you're going to see your Deadpools, your X-Forces, your stuff that's probably not going to be into the main storylines. I still think you could see them continue to go. Does that mean you're going to get another Logan, like an Old Man Logan type movie? Maybe not with some of the more popular characters, but you could see some of the darker characters, like the Punisher. You could see them launched under the 20th Century logo instead of...
Channing Tatum's still pushing hard to do his Gambit movie, and I mean, who knows? It could be as good as Deadpool. I mean, if you have an actor who's that passionate about it. I mean, it all comes down to who's going to be running it. That's the thing. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You got to remember, Disney is ran by shareholders. Disney is not a non-profit organization where Walt Disney runs it himself and it's all for the kids. They understand the value of money, and if there's going to be value in R-rated comic book movies, they're going to continue to make them. And I think if anything, if Disney buys it now, it's going to give them more of a push. They may just say, "Hey, we see the value in Deadpool. We see the value in
here's a shitload of money."
I mean, clearly they see value. We're getting Punisher looks like the darkest Marvel property yet. And
oh my god, it looks fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I mean they had to push back the release of the trailer because of the Las Vegas shooting.
The amount of violence. So I definitely think we're gonna. I would be 100% shocked if they just said, "Nope, no more R-rated properties. We're moving on." I definitely do think that they will do their best to keep the distance between a Deadpool. You're probably not going to see Deadpool jumping into a Thor movie, right? Because they may want to keep that separate just because there is some branding issues. You are targeting a different demographic. And Disney, at the end of the day, still wants to be a family corporation, a family name. When you think Disney...
Yeah, they want you to go to Disneyland and be able to buy all the stuff with your kids.
Yeah, but I don't think Deadpool's going away. I think if anything, if Disney takes it, I think Disney is clearly looking into how they can make money on Marvel television shows. I mean, we talked about earlier this year, we talked about the fact that a Disney exec came down and said, you are not canceling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., period.
Yeah.
And apparently they got into a big tiff with ABC execs over it. So Disney clearly sees the value in what they have, and I don't think that's going to slow down. If anything, maybe it gives them a better outlet. Maybe now FX becomes, until they launch their streaming service, maybe FX becomes the new home of all their, their Marvel TV shows.
Yeah, or the more like adult-oriented stuff. Cause I could see them doing, like you said, let's just put all the Daredevil stuff, all that stuff will go over here. And this is where you guys can watch it. It's not going away. It's obviously people like it, and we get money from it. It's I can really see Disney just saying, all right, here's where this is going to go. This is where this is going to go. This is going to go over here. Here's who's going to be in charge of it.
Yeah,
here's a shit pile of Disney money.
And honestly, you're talking about such a huge catalog of stuff that there's no way they're just going to be like, oh, we're just going to roll it into one thing. Like you said, they're going to tell Kevin Feige, okay, you pick and choose what characters you want from the movies. We're going to put a new person in charge, completely in charge of all these new characters, creating new shows. And they're going to create all kinds of new department heads to compartmentalize all this stuff. Yeah. Now, that being said, anytime you have one company buying up everything else, you do run the risk. That's a lot of characters. But I think Marvel has proven, I think Disney has proven with Star Wars and with Marvel that they are going to let them continue to do what they do as long as it is successful. So they understand that Star Wars makes money. Yes, we are definitely getting more of a corporate Star Wars than we had with George Lucas. That is true. But you can also say we're getting more Star Wars because of Disney. Without Disney, we wouldn't be getting all the stuff we have now. So, I'm excited. I think it'd be great. I think it's nothing but good. And honestly, even if it did kill, as much as I love Deadpool, and I do like Legion, and I liked Old Man Logan, as much as I like those things, if the cost of Disney, Marvel, getting everything back and creating better, bigger stories, then I'm willing to sacrifice those if I have to. I'm telling you, when you see Thor Ragnarok, in a lot of ways it's a culmination of the entire MCU putting into one movie, and it's magnificent for it.
And here's the thing. You get that streaming service with all that stuff combined. I'm never buying a DVD or Blu-ray again. I'll just
pay my $20 a month forever, and
that's exactly right.
Here you go. It's my $200 a year, and I'll never buy another DVD.
You want $20 a month for the rest of my life? Here you go. You own a part of me for the rest of your life.
I have every Marvel movie, Star Wars movie, Disney movie on my phone.
Yeah.
I can watch Legion Season 2 on my phone or iPad.
And add in all the other fucking studios that Fox owns that we don't even fucking know about.
And like I said, if you're worried that they'd cancel, they'd kill all creativity, look at what they did with Netflix and look at the shows they're still pushing. They have so many new Marvel shows they're trying to push out. And if you think they don't believe in R-rated properties, Daredevil is an R-rated property.
Oh, yes. Very much so.
So, I don't know. But I personally, like I said, I don't think they'd kill Deadpool. I think they see the value in it. And honestly, I think this is all good news, man. I hope this happens. I'm really excited for this.
I hope it happens, and then they start their streaming service, and I basically just canceled everything else that I have.
Honestly, I'd be tempted, because there's a rumor that DC would do a stream. If DC and Marvel both did, if Warner Brothers and Disney did 2 streaming services, I might be able to cancel everything else.
Yeah, pretty true. You wouldn't have to really worry about anything.
Yeah,
as long as they didn't wait. As long as they didn't wait too long to put the movies onto the streaming service.
Well, and I got Verizon now, and I can watch the Red Zone on my phone, so I can watch football games now on my iPhone.
Yeah.
So literally just get rid of everything. I'm good. All right, well, that went a little bit longer than I thought. So, did we have any questions? We posted a Faithful 50. Everybody who didn't get a question in, we forgive you. It was really late and very last minute, so we apologize for that.
Hey, I was pretty happy with the post that came up really quickly.
All right, what do we got?
So, we have Chris who wants to know Nintendo Switch or Xbox One X this Christmas.
Well, that's easy for me. Probably Xbox, because I already have an Xbox. I'm not going to buy an Xbox One X because I already have a One, and I'm not going to buy a Switch because I'm old and I only have time for one system.
I would probably say, since we just bought the One S with the S, we almost bought a Nintendo Switch, but we couldn't find it anyway. So, I think that would be our next purchase, just because I want to play that Zelda game.
I'm trying to get my hands on a Super Nintendo Classic is what I'm trying to get. That's actually the console that I want.
God, I haven't been looking. I just gave up. I'm not even trying.
I continue to look. I've got a few emails out there to notify me when they're in stock, but that is actually the console that I would like to get. I'd like to get something more friendly with my kids. I know the Switch is, but it's got a lot of moving parts. I just want something I can plug into my TV, leave it there with the old school console.
Yeah, you don't got to worry about it. You don't have to worry about them accidentally talking to some douchebag on Xbox Live.
I don't want to pay an online subscription. I just want a fun game that I can play with them, some Super Mario Brothers or Street Fighter or something. So anyway, that's the classic. So I take your 2 and I raise you a Super Nintendo Classic, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, what else we got?
Jeff wants to know, what is your favorite dinner/dish that your significant other makes? And then he said his old lady makes a jalapeno artichoke dip. Ooh. That he could arguably just eat with a spoon. I would like some of that dip. Whoa.
You want some of his wife's dip? That's pretty messed up, Ryan. You jerk. That's like way beyond the bro code, dude.
Sorry, Jeff.
Ryan wants to dip his chip in your wife's dip, Jeff. Feel free, you have my permission to punch him in the face.
I'm going to say that my wife my favorite thing that she makes is like these little sliders,
Mm-hmm.
but they kind of have like a brown sugar, like caramel kind of drizzle thing that she puts on top, and the actual meat and everything has like those diced chili tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a spicier kind of slider with like the caramely glazing on top. Oh, it's so fucking good. It's delicious.
Nice. Sounds good.
But what about you? Does your wife even cook anything? Peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah, no. My wife does not make dinner very often, but she can cook. And when she does cook, she's pretty good at it. She's actually got 3 dishes that she's really good at. 2 of them are very generic, but they are magnificently tasty. She makes a tater tot casserole that is mwah, to die for.
Yeah.
She makes a meatloaf that is fantastic. And she actually makes a zucchini lasagna that is awesome.
Oh.
Flat out amazing. We're trying to watch my girlish figure here. So you put in the zucchini instead of noodles, and you get lasagna with it. Doesn't quite taste the same as regular, but it's actually really good. And I will eat it all. So there you go.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks for that, man. It's good outside the box question.
That was all of our questions.
All right, well, thank you, Jeff and Chris, for playing along. We do appreciate it. And like I said, everybody else, some of our normal contributors, we do not blame you. We take the full blame for this. Our bad. If you do post a question later after this goes up, me and Ryan will hop on Facebook and we'll answer it for you. So thanks, everybody who did submit a question, though. All right, lastly, recommendations. Did you have anything for this week, Ryan?
My recommendation is to do what I did and get caught up on The Walking Dead. I had missed the first 3 episodes. I'm currently caught up. There's a lot of not so much. Well, I guess the first episode had a decent amount of zombies, but this is all out war with Negan, and I think this season probably going to determine if they continue this series or not.
Yeah. Because
it seems like people are kind of starting to get some fatigue.
Yeah, well, the ratings are going down. It's been an alright season, but I find it kind of... It's fun to watch, but it doesn't feel like it did before. Like like every week I'm not excited for the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, case in point that I waited until the first 3 were on the AMC streaming app, and I just binge watched all 3 at
Dude, this Sunday we were like, oh, Walking Dead's on in like 5 minutes. All right, let's watch it. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's definitely not what it was. So if you've been watching it, this might be the last season. Who knows? So, but that's my recommendation. Just binge watch the first 3 episodes.
All right. My recommendation this week is go watch Thor Ragnarok. I went and saw it with my family this last weekend, and it was fan-freaking-tastic. I'm not going to give a full review of it. Me and Ryan's going to try and go see it this next week. So our plan is on the next episode to have a 20-minute or so spoiler-filled geek out, where if you've seen the show and you want to listen to some people touch a few things that were cool about the movie, that is our plan next week. So we'll dive a lot into Thor then. So right now I'll give you kind of my loose review here. It's definitely spoiler free. Thor Ragnarok is everything you go to a movie to, every reason you go to a theater to see a movie is this movie. It is absolutely 100% just pure fun, start to finish. If you do not enjoy this movie, you just don't like fun things. And there's been a mix of critics. A lot of official critics do not like this movie that much, and I think they're all batshit crazy. This movie is fantastic. Yes, it is 2 movies. It is a Thor Ragnarok movie, and it is a Planet Hulk movie mashed into one movie, but it works. And
we all knew that going into it.
And it works, and yes, I wish I didn't know Hulk was in this. It would have been amazing when you get the first Hulk scene. But it is such a fun movie, and it is what I needed watching this movie, right? There's a lot of, it's kind of winter's coming, it's cold, a lot of crappy stuff in the world, And I needed something to just go and enjoy myself. And like I said, I took my 8-year-old daughter and my 5-year-old daughter and my wife who isn't even a big MCU fan. She went and she followed the movie almost 100%. It was a couple times she asked me, wasn't sure what was going on because of other movies. This movie has so much of the entire Marvel universe built into this movie, but they do a good job of explaining everything. So like I said, my wife, who hasn't she's watched maybe 3 of the Marvel movies, she followed it, she understood what was going on, and she loved it. She enjoyed it. It has it's a great conclusion to the Thor trilogy. And it's a great movie leading into Avengers Infinity War. But more than that, it's just pure fun. It is a fun, amazingly great movie that just makes you smile, right? Between Stranger Things 2 and now Thor Ragnarok, man, I am feeling great with my media entertainment right now because it's just...
And last night's election results.
Yes! But we won't talk about that. But yeah, it's... Like I said, Stranger Things 2 and now Thor Ragnarok, both these properties have tapped into why you love things, right? Why you love movies and why you love television.
And both completely separate genres.
Yeah. But they just make you smile and they make you just happy. And Thor Ragnarok is, everyone keeps asking me, well, where'd you rank it? Where'd you rank it? I'm tired of ranking these movies because I don't really want to, because it's just, it's its own thing and it's great. Yes, it is not the tight action thriller, amazing Winter Soldier, which is one of my favorite Marvel movies, which is my favorite Marvel movie, hands down. But if I had to compare it, I'd say this is like Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. It is just pure fun that you just smile from ear to ear, and what I loved about it is it's got so much payoff from other Thor movies. Like, they reference the first 2 Thor movies. They give you punchlines for jokes that they kind of started in the other movies. And there's a ton of payoff for Avengers Age of Ultron in this, which I love. A lot of people like to try and say Age of Ultron wasn't that great and kind of forget about it. This movie fully embraces it, which I think is great. It is an excellent Marvel movie. It is the best Thor movie, hands down. And I like the other 2 ones, but this one is by far the best Thor movie. And honestly, I think it's one of the funnest movies that Marvel's ever made. And I cannot recommend this movie highly enough. Go see it. Take your family. Feel free to take your kids to go see this movie. They will enjoy it. If your wife's not a big fan of the MCU, tell her that. You can see Chris Hemsworth freaking rock hard abs and body. God, that guy's jacked. Yeah. He likes to show it off a lot in this movie. So there's something for everybody. But go see Thor Ragnarok. You will not be disappointed. Couple of post-credit stingers as always, so just stay for them. But we watched it in regular. I didn't watch it in 3D. I can imagine there's probably some extra they added in 3D, but whatever. But check it out. Thor Ragnarok. Great movie. All right, anything else? You want to get out of here?
Yes.
All right, so before we get out of here, Ryan, would you like to tell everybody where they can find us? They don't already know.
If you would like to find us, we are on Twitter at the Geek Dad Report. Brian is BrianWest53, and I am Big Bruiser. We are on YouTube at the Geek Dad Report, Facebook at the Geek Dad Report, and we are also on podhell.com. So if you would like to find us or listen to us on iTunes, where you can give us a 5-star rating and make sure that you subscribe. Please subscribe, like us, give us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Tell us if we suck. Tell us if we're hitting the right notes that you wanted to hear. Especially the nice things. We like the nice thing. When people talk nice to us, it's really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It makes us feel warm and fuzzy.
Yes, it does. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us for the episode. We'll see you guys next week at our regular scheduled bat time. And until then, go see Thor Ragnarok and stay awesome.
Stay nerdy, everyone.
And watch the Geek Dad Report versus the NFL. Available now.
And my picks are the best.
No, they're not. Later.